wasn't just that pick, it was mostly LWX keeping to the bottom lane push as well. So that was mostly a mistake of FPX, but it was still a capitalizing Rogue Warriors at the end of the day.
Well, for Rogue Warriors, though, that one key fight is what we'll look at going forward, because we talked up their composition as a 1-3-1, and that probably would have enabled them in the mid to maybe be a bit more impactful. I want to talk a little bit more about FPX, because Doumbé was the person to watch, but maybe the show in the end was kind of split between him and LWX and Crisp, who had an outstanding performance.
Yeah, I felt like MVP going to Doumbé was very natural to me. The fact that he was able to, I know the 24 damage percentage is something you look at and it's like, you know.
You did well.
Excellent. A lot of it was just based off of the confidence that he had in Tien. Confidence that Chris gave him to great tanks in the Sejuani and Tahm Kench to keep him protected mid. The moment the early gank came in very successfully, it was just lights out, because double melee with Sejuani, especially with the early Sejuani damage that she has, 2v2's in their favor. Irelia is pushed back completely. Tahm Kench has the ability to place down wards and get bot side vision, and I felt like, okay, FPX are doing everything they should. And Tahm Kench, like Crisp, has the ability to roam like we've known him to do so. So it felt like the early game was really right down their hold, because they had the early game pressure in mid lane.
And we didn't get a chance to see after that early game, we didn't see Wuji, who we wanted to focus on for Rogue Warriors, actually have his stellar performance. A good scoreline, or at least a decent scoreline, but not really active in the fights apart from that one big one.
It's hard because he's scaling with the pickup there. Kai'Sa took some time, and this was the fight that we were referring to really early on. Was just that one opportunity Rogue Warriors had where, yeah, Wuji did impact this. Went for a flank, great, able to immediately blow up the Yasuo. Varus wasn't in there. Jang Tao shows up. So immediately, these are the fights that, I mean, I guess, these are the punishes that you want to have if you're Rogue Warriors. I immediately would like to see Zhang Wuji on a different AD carry, just because he's so well known for being able to take control within the laning phase that I think his team to be able to perform within the laning phase. And I think if you don't have Kong Ming, I'm still high on Kong Ming. I know that we didn't get to see him play in game 1.
I think you put him in here though.
But they won't. So, like, you're right though. They should be able to put him in. But the issue is now, if you don't have mid lane, top lane working out, the game is now snowballing away from you. Don't pick up the Vayne. You want to go for the early game. Suddenly, maybe you pick up the Varus. You have to go for something that's a little bit more lane dominating, so you can actually give the rest of your team, give Suju a focus to put pressure on.
But if you're FPX right now, you're feeling confident after the first game. Doumbé looked great, picked up the Yasuo game number 1. Yep. Who knows what he's going to look towards in game number 2. FPX looked like, I guess, revitalized from the last split. There was still a playoff contender. But this split is very early. It's one game, like, into week 1.
But they do need to start thinking about the early games.
Yeah.
Like, before, you're right. Like, they just leapt into, like, they finally...
I got Chaos here.
Yeah, Chaos is one thing. They slowly got into playoffs, and then they got immediately booted out last split. They want to start strong. They started weak last time around because they still had the mid lane as a major question. You know, as first they started with Bing. Then they moved to Cool, and Cool was a definite upgrade. I still think that Cool is an excellent pickup for them, just because he's able to refocus them into a slower-paced team. But then they were like, well, why are we changing who we are as a unit? Why are we changing our ultimate way that we win the game, our win condition? Bring in Doumbé, and suddenly you can still play to that while still having a major upgrade in the mid lane.
He definitely adds to the mix. Young Warriors, that's what is going up against this team of Chaos. I want to look more towards Rogue Warriors and maybe them finding more of those fights. Now, in previous series, I wanted to bring out individual picks. I think in this series, maybe it feels a little bit more relevant. The pick and ban phase, we said a lot went through. It is going to be blue side once again for FPX. So what changes here for the draft, maybe for Rogue Warriors?
For Rogue Warriors, maybe they think about the Sejuani ban a little bit more. Because what I like from the FPX blue side pickups is that they're so comfortable with the counter picks coming in from their mid laner doing B, and their bottom lane actually, more surprisingly. They're so confident in their major carries and how large of a champion pool that they have that they can just say, okay, throw in the early utility first. Get the Sejuani on the board, not because it is so strong, but because it really is just a safe pickup, and Tien can support the 2 young carries. So this is what I'd like to see, the Sejuani probably get wiped from the board, or pick up the Zac that we already mentioned. I think the Zac pickup was great last game because they were going up against the Sejuani and Tahm Kench, but we didn't get to see it.
No, Tahm Kench might just be left open. Zac as a response seems to be the better option as both teams come back to the stage. And FPX looking calm here. I think Rogue Warriors just saw a couple of nerves as them sitting on stage. They are the fresh squad. It's been said multiple times. Kahlua, though, still leading the charge. First game, Nautilus. Second game, who knows?
I mean, he's looking very confident. I think that's something that's incredibly important to know. Because remember, if you have a lot of fresh young stars coming into this, you instill them with confidence. The veterans saying, you know, go out there and put in the work. You will see at least some bit of repayment. And then you start off with the first loss. You're like, this is the reality that's starting to settle in. You don't want that to be grim. You want them to still focus on what worked well for them. What worked well for them was actually them being able to come back into the fight. So the team fights are still good for this team. And I think Zhang Wuji, even when he's behind, still making the right decisions. So like those two things are something that works really well for you. You do, as you already made a mention of, change it up in draft by giving more focus in the early game for Zhang Wuji. But also say that, you know what? I think Jiang Chao is a really good tank player. I think the Scion worked very well for him. Sure, the game didn't come out with a victory, but I think he came out with some stellar performances in these team fights that we have confidence in bringing into the next game.
He was unkillable by that late stage as well, which is saying something considering how far ahead FPX found themselves. But again, whether it's Jiang Chao, whether it's Wuji, maybe with Wuji as well, you know, you saw how aggressive he was at even the later stage, like ulting in to the middle of 4 people. They're not expecting it. Takes down a GA, walks his way out. Even if it is a late game carry, maybe there's still hope just changing, you know, the rest of the composition.
Yeah, perhaps. That's what I want to see. I think that when we're discussing composition, it's so much more important to really focus on what you're dealing with. Apparently, it's a messed up zipper.
I think you'll be stuck.
I've been in that problem. Sometimes I just throw the jacket away because it's like, all right, well, this is the lost jacket. There's no saving it anymore. Oh, please save the jacket.
Oh, we got it.
Okay, he's good. All right, thank you. But to talk about who he's going up against, initially the point of Rogue Warriors, a lot of it was FPX on blue side. Blind pick was still going for a lot of flex pick options, so you didn't know who they're going to go for bottom lane, mid lane, or top lane. That just means that you have to focus more on your own strategy. And the strategy that Rogue Warriors were employing was still protection composition. I think that should still remain. Just more so like we got to go for mid game perhaps with Lucian if it's still going to be available to us. I think Ezreal is still a really good option that we haven't seen so far. Like we saw Loken perform so well on it in the earlier series. So I would love to see that actually picked a little bit more.
Wasn't even Harvard, wasn't even looked at for that game number 1. But we are about to get into the second one now. And this time Rogue Warriors, let's see what the change-ups are. Because FPX, such a dominating game number 1. It's the Caitlyn ban straight off the bat as well with the Camille. You see Akali and Aatrox is really no surprise there from Rogue Warriors.
I mean, FPX shouldn't change anything. The Lucian ban should come in all the same because the last strategy worked out very well. Why would they change it again? So there we go. The 280 carries that we're referring to, Lucian and Caitlyn, are gone. And so it's just going to be on Rogue Warriors to really initiate the change. How are they going to deal with the Sejuani first pick if that's what FPX goes for again?
What do they just ban it away? Rogue Warriors committing to leaving something else. Maybe a bit overpowered. We have not seen the Kalista. Maybe that's something we talk about further down. No Sejuani ban. Back to Cassiopeia and FPX. Maybe it's rinse and repeat.
You have to ban the Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia is way too strong in this meta. Over 55% win rate in solo queue with how many games it's being played.
Okay.
It's disgusting. I think the Akali, perhaps you can make a mention of it. Whenever there's an Akali pick last year, you say, okay, LeBlanc. Or, you know what, we'll go for a Galio. You know, those are the options that you can go for. Perhaps that we see a Galio type composition here for Rogue Warriors. Surprising that we get to see the Urgot once again here.
Yeah, prioritized over the Sejuani. Rogue Warriors take their pickings. This time Suju will pick that one up and they get the Aurelia too. So you're thinking Huatian's going to try that again.
All right. I mean, and remember, Jiang Chao is not known as a carry top laner, so you're right that this Irelia is pretty much pigeonholed into the mid lane, which is not a bad thing. Also, it's another melee mid lane combination with the passive that Sejuani provides, so it might be even stronger here for Hwatian. I wonder what we're going to be seeing from Doonby.
It's definitely not going to be that Gragas. That is some Season 3 stuff right there, but that's more likely to go onto the side of town. Changing things up, reverse junglers this time around, and the Kaiser on LWX, so different goals in mind for FPX.
And if I'm Rogue Warriors, I'm a little bit more happier. You know, you look towards the support pickups, and you start going for the bans of, let's say, Alistar, good ban, take away from them. Now that they have the Thresh too, that's playmaking opportunity that they have for themselves. I would say banning the Tahm Kench, perhaps Alistar, would do them a lot of good.
Well, the Thresh, you know, the response from Kahlua against Suning, against IG. It looked oh so good. The Alistar is the first ban away. So, cutting their losses where they can.
I wonder if the Tahm Kench is going to be a ban levied. But that being said, Kahlua on the Thresh pick is a great reminder of what we saw from them in the Demacia Cup. He was on point in the laning phase, and they also opened up the board for Zhang Wuji. Wuji now has the option to go towards any AD carry. The Bane ban is a respect ban.
Yeah.
Just saying that we know who you are. It's like you ain't hiding anybody. We've seen the VODs.
It's not going to be the comeback. It's not going to bring it to game 3. Left with minimal AD carries. Yasuo away from Doonby instead of something like the Tahm Kench, which remains open. And FPX might just finish that one off. It's a Victor which can be flexed, so little remaining down there for Wuji. He doesn't even have the Kaiser this time around.
Honestly, I wouldn't even expect Wuji to pick it up. I think it would immediately go to Jiang Chao, and they can try and force I guess a top lane focus, but that's just not even going to be an option now. If I'm Wuji, go towards an Ezreal. I've said it earlier on. I think it is a very good pickup in the meta. Kalista, man! You know what?
Finally! This is what we wanted to see in 9.1. The first game of Kalista. And boy, oh boy, with Thresh, that is going to make for some spicy 2-on-2 plays, Raz.
That's going to be sick. I really am happy to see it. We got to see it in CB LOL as the first region to really bring it out because of the base stats that were improved. The trade-off was base stats, and then of course her nerfs were just her ultimate being 50% off in just using it on major objectives. But it's still great if you want to combine it with Smite. That's not a problem. Are you hovering? You don't do this.
Eyes are on Kalista until this gets locked in.
Oh, yes!
And it's Doonby's back again. It would not be Doonby without a Kled mid. And to start off his FPX career, he brings this back into the mid lane. Now, Lissandra seems to be the response to this, but does that mean Jiang Chao takes it into the top lane, or is he going to try out a carry?
I think Lissandra is great into the Urgot. We saw at Worlds, but once again, if it worked pretty well for Jiang Chao last game, goes right back towards the Sion again. I'd like to see what Rogue Warriors can do with this composition now that they have that early game threat that we were referring to. Zhang Wuji on the Kalista. It's going to do a lot for them.
Doonby on the Kled. Like two sides of the fence right now. In Game 1, Rogue Warriors' final ban was the Kled. Game 2, they've opted in for the Yasuo, so it's the topsy-turvy duo from Doonby. But you're saying you like what they built. Well, Rogue Warriors, the similarities are there. This time the Sejuani, but the Kalista down in the bottom lane. LWX and Chris maybe won't have as easy of a time.
I mean, the Kled really covers up for the lacking engage. I know they have a Gragas in there, but picking up the Braum, you'd wonder how they would get in. They have the ability to just charge right for it. So mid lane pressure is needed here. If you are Rogue Warriors, you need to find a way to keep Kled down and out, or at least keep him in the lane. You want him contained.
How? How do you do that with Doonby?
Quarantine the man at all costs. How are you going to do it? You definitely need bot lane pressure first and foremost. That was what you built before in your composition. And have Thresh get the control wards out. Have control the bot side so they can actually roam
Good. Peaceful this time. Well, hope RW's audience hasn't gone home after game 1. Sound a little bit more quiet, but Rogue Warriors have changed things up, as we said before.
The mood always changes. There are a few, fans out there that when their team loses, they cheer even louder the next game. This one, Rogue Warriors, trying to cool it down.
Let him think.
Yeah, waiting a little bit.
Okay. I like that. So we see Kled mid with Conqueror. Yeah.
One thing I want to point out is of course, the lethal tempo being picked up by Wuji. Lethal tempo is already a great pickup anyways, but now that Kallista's back in action, 5 extra added base AD to her kit, increased damage growth, attack speed growth. I mean, that's sad for Killua. I'll put that out there right now.
We're really looking forward to that bottom lane. It's just maybe gone before it starts. Even top lane here, Jun Chao. He's trying. At least get something back, but FPX, exactly what you want.
Always comes down to just the laning phase. You can hype them up however you want it. You can strategize in the pick and ban, but if your players are just outright raw, wins the trade early on, they dictate that flow. So LWX and Chris, been a duo forever now. And Gimgoon, who's just been a strong laner when he gets the right laning phase, when he's set up to succeed. I think far too often in 2018 he was barely put in bad laning situations and had been a poor CS deficit and just been like, Section 2, you are a team fighter now. But you've been seeing in the past 2 series, like, hey, you should win lane now, and he's been doing that.
Yeah. Picking Urgot into the top lane against Hassan gives him the opportunity to do so, but we look back bottom lane. Wuji and Killua, they're going to be flashed on again. Wuji's out of there. Tian just can't get in. They might actually be able to turn this one, but Death Sentence does not land onto Crisp. And Killua will leave it at that. Tian to walk away. He might just circle around, to be all honest.
It's possible. It's just so hard to get on top of this pair. I mean, we've been so conditioned to watching, the Rakan and lanes. You're just like, yeah, that's difficult to play. That's actually just the hardest lanes to see because Rakan can get out of there. Xayah can press ultimate. But no, like the OG lane of difficult to gank has been Kalista and Thresh. If you're trying to go for the Kalista, she's hopping around, and then Thresh just plays it so far back, he throws out the lantern. There's a lot of damage here.
Oh, that's going to hurt. Ignite drop down. Rend in the tip of the spear. Does it do it? It does! What a trade-off there from Rogue Warriors bottom lane.
That was the last tick, too. That was just picture perfect. The Ignite being thrown down because they were pretty damn sure they could do it. The LWX can play around, sure, fine. But, like, you guys are in a deficit now.
Oh, man. Perfect start here for Kalista. Kill does go over to Killua.
Add that one to the highlight reel.
Yeah, hell yeah. Killua landing every hook possible. So Rogue Warriors, the start that they needed for this game. And that'll lead them into a pretty good place to back on as well. Remember, with Oathsworn now, you don't have to worry if Killua roams. So if bottom lane gets this early lead raz, then Wuji can stay down there by himself. There's not really any detriment to the Kalista anymore being alone.
Yeah, it's been the strongest bit of this. I know that the trade-off, you already mentioned the fact that, the Oathsworn bit. So yeah, Thresh is just going to be roaming a little bit more frequently. The wave is not really good for him if he tries to go mid lane as he is. I mean, just take a look at this. Huatian doesn't have any mana. The lane is honestly, I think is starting to push back in his direction, so Doombee's getting the hard push off, but like, how do you even support the gank here? So right now, Killua's only his focus here is just to clear out wards if possible.
Yeah, drops control ward towards that center brush mid, and walks back towards the bottom lane. Wuji fine, still able to push up. Killua with that first kill, he was able to go back and upgraded the relic. So, not often you see actually with Thresh's only in competitive play where you see that relic, normally going towards a coin.
Yeah, the sustain that he's always looking for. Oh my god, I love that ability.
Jung Chao, he can't stop that one.
I just love the fact that you just buffer it no matter what, someone's being picked up. My favorite test was literally Ezreal, to see if Ezreal can somehow blink up out of it if he gets grabbed by Urgot. And you're getting tossed. You're getting tossed right back.
That's when you know. When Ezreal can't escape something, you're like, well, maybe that's a little bit unfair.
Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it?
I'm sure Jung Xiao's going to learn the painful way. That wave's getting pushed in as well. He's probably going to have to use TP. Probably he will. Doombe mid lane.
They got him.
Suju doesn't have ult, so charge away. He even has to burn flash. It's a great gank there from Suju.
And you can see how easy that gank is. The moment Sejuani is just in proximity, her passive starts rolling. So immediately having to get up out of there. He is at least safe, comes back into the lane, topped up, and can pick up the wave. That's all he's really asking for now.
Wants to burn the TP as well. Wave pushed in. Huatian has been keeping up here with the Kled. Doomy goes back and picks up the Tiamat though, so being able to clear those waves now at 6. That's when things start getting frisky around the map.
It just starts with first the clear and push from right now bottom lane wave. Killua has his dematerializer, so he can get the push off. And so the friskiness that you're referring to is like, yeah, let's play around this Infernal Dragon. Let's try and do it. Pings are coming across. It's Gragas who's gotten there first, so technically FPX can do something about it. Is he actually just trying to go for the gank? I think that's what he's trying to do.
He's thinking about it.
Oh no, the Scuttle Crab, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Okay.
So, because he's recognized that mid lane's going to be difficult for him to gain control of, and bottom lane's been pushing it nonsensically. So as long as he has as much vision in line, so like when the Infernal Dragon's contested, that he's going to be in a better position. So it's basically trying to get as much vision on the weak side as he can.
Was spotted out, or at least Rogue Warriors have an inkling that that Scuttle Crab has been taken. Control ward mid still protecting Aurelia. Stable start. That's what I said about the about the IG TOP game for number 2. But it is different.
Here we go.
Predator topside. Tian going into Zhang Xiao. He's walking right to him as well. Tries to body slam away from his direction. See you later, mate. Zhang Xiao drops, and it's Tian who picks up the glory.
Yeah, at least he canceled out the body slam, but you're not getting away from that cast. So Q still nets the kill. Really tough time here for Zhang Xiao. I mean, at that point, it was actually just impossible to get up out of there.
To the top side of the map as well. Zhang Xiao going towards is a similar build, why not? But turret plating, Kim Goon's going to get one.
And this is the snowball. You're losing turret plating, 160, boom. But now you've lost the complete control, cannon wave. That's just really disturbing in terms of Zhang Xiao going back into the lane is completely lost.
The response in vision after seeing that topside gank is to get the Infernal Drake. So remember, 10% here in 9.1. Rogue Warriors at least getting the trade-off.
So now, I mean, that was already their strength. Play towards bottom lane. It seems like this game is just saying even more. You need to play bot. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Sejuani, she's starting topside, I think, just to be able to get her Krug. She's pinged it right now. But Krug's immediately into Scuttle and then bot side. You want to be able to look for that bottom lane dive. I think that would be the best bet.
Because behind 10CS, LWX not having the greatest time in lane. Even picked up Carl looking towards the mid and late game as all Kaisers do. Meanwhile, Tien, well, that's actually not Tien. That's Crisp who's sitting there.
Yeah, Huatian has actually had a really good ward placed out. You recognize that a lot of people ended up like jungle, more importantly. Like if Tien had been sitting there, then he would be looking to like Gragas body slam and flash in that position. But he caught out the support instead. Really well done being able to catch that out.
With that cleverly placed ward, means Killua can come in as well and know that there was a response from Crisp. Moving back towards the bottom side. Tien pick up the blue buff. Might actually find the scuttle here from Suju. The wave's pushed into the top side, so there's not too much that Gimgoon can do until it's too late. So more vision early from Rogue Warriors, kind of fixing up what last game was, which was a bit of a blind fiesta from 10. There's a flash in. Zhang Xiao, he's not tanky enough to deal with this just yet. His jungler is coming. No, he's not even coming up. They've just left him to die. Body slam misses from Tien. The explosive cast. He lives with the charge away. Oh, what? That was the interaction there from... Yeah, he's a bit too far away for the fear beyond death, but you can see the chain's ready to come out. They'll just get turret instead. Yeah,
Doom be rotating as well, so it was a good call ultimately for Suju to be like, I am not committing to this. We have no pressure mid. At least we can make a trade happen as they rush for the tower.
Should be able to get a couple of plates off, but the same being done here by Rogue Warriors in the mid lane. FPX get a couple down, not willing to commit for more. They're actually going to look for something behind the mid lane. But I'm not sure what they can catch out. Charge is available. Well, when does it begin? It does not.
Yeah, it doesn't want to sound the horn, so at least for now, the fight's not going to come through.
A lot of ultimates available on the side of Rogue Warriors.
That is such a far placing control ward. Honestly, you wouldn't be able to place that control ward if you are, if you don't have a jungle immediately behind you. Yep. They have two of them placed not only in the tri-bush, Quest in the bush right next. Wait, why are they? Oh no, they're gonna lose that ward immediately. So that wasn't even a smart ward if they're not gonna be able to protect it. Okay, wait, they're staying. I know the map is not on them and it's on the Rift Herald, but this is pretty damn important.
They're sticking around.
Okay. What is actually happening? Come on, man. Observer, let's get to see this.
Make a move.
I am just so sad. Alright, that's fine. I guess no one likes Vision play as much.
Suju is down at the bottom side of the map, Raz. Huatian's making the move too. So this bottom lane dive, expecting it to happen soon, but still no move with the invade onto Raptors.
But to me, the entire focus right now of Rogue Warriors has to be around that control ward that's placed in the Tribush. That's why they're protecting it so heavily, because whenever Aurelia pushes it out the wave along with Sejuani, the threat of them being able to rotate from mid to bottom lane with that control ward is so large. That's why LWX and Crisp are just trying to fight for it, but they don't want to get pulled into another Kalista Thresh fight. Like, because the Ultimate Warrior is like, if we try and fight a 2v2 with Kalista Thresh when they both have sums up, we just die again.
Oh, yeah.
So just baits happening there doesn't come true because it's just LWX and Chris playing patiently.
It's been a pretty stagnant game. One that Huatian's actually come out ahead on the side of Doumbé with all these roams, but finally Huatian gets a decent laning phase to work towards that Trinity Force. Now Tiamat picked up in the build path first, but he's got time, which is what Rogue Warriors need. Not a bad way to put it here for Rogue Warriors. Improvement from game one. They've made FPX stagnant.
And it was mostly just off of that one, let's say, change in the bottom lane, giving that extra power in Wuji.
Wuji just walked over a control ward.
Yeah, you know how it is. Wait a minute, where are you going, son?
Here we go. Kled for the charge behind the turret. It's nothing. Wuji and Kahlua onto that one. Tian's like, I'm covered now as well. This is the same Rift Herald placement too. The same play by FPX at the same time.
They just had a good idea where the Sejuani was, but here comes the teleport.
Oh, that's so much gold over the side. Teleports cannot be cancelled. Jung Chao waiting patiently. Where's the ulti? Here it comes. Now onto the bottom lane. Hits Chris, but no knock-up. It's 5 members already there. It's a bit of a fiesta of sorts, but FPX running front to back. Kim Goon in first, and everyone else follows. A double kill already over to the side. LWX again gets all the kills. I'm having deja vu, Raj.
I can't believe what's happening. And you know what? Gimgoon ultimately won them that fight. Triple kill there for LWX because he was able to go front to back with ease. But Gimgoon just played the front line. He was like, all right, how are you guys going to fight us? Jung Chao just jumps right in there, and sure, you burst down Chris, but he's going to still be alive, and the rest of the squad is going to be looking at you.
First turret again over to the side of FPX. 4K gold. Tian's going to hit up this Ocean Drake. He needs help from Doumbé, which he'll receive happily. Their first elemental adds to the mix.
This was a key mistake being made here. I like the teleport, but the moment the hook from Thresh ain't landing, just take a look at Jung Chao. He goes straight for Crisp. He cuts them up, but immediately they can just focus right going forward. Gimgoon walks up, immediately grabs Zhang Wuji, gets a 3-man fear. That was just beautiful from Gimgoon.
And it got cleaned up by LWX. Gimgoon started it, LWX finished it. 3-0-1 with Storm Razors. And we're back to where we started.
He's getting dangerously close to his Rage Blade with all that gold he was able to accrue for himself. So like right now, FPX are just balling. And they have 4 members with control wars. Titanic picked up from Kled. All right, he wants to fight. He wants it so badly.
That first item on Kled, first item on Gimgoon, that was ages ago. He's almost to his second. Suju making something happen bot, but he's spotted out here by Doumbé.
I think he wants to fight. I'm just putting it out there. He leaves because he knows that there's a numbers disadvantage. But if it was literally just him between him and Suju would have a bad time.
At least they help get the turret. So 2 members down bot, pick up that turret. They open up the map a little bit more for Rogue Warriors to kind of silence that gold lead a little bit more. So you look mid, teleport's just been channeled by Doumbé. They're going to force this last outer turret.
Super easy to take these turrets down, and great position from Tien. They're going to go for a fight.
Lure hooks him in, box down as well. Lantern over to the side, saves his AD carry. That's an ultimate down from Brom. Where is Sion? Knocks down into the Urgot. Suju is frontlining this one, jumps back into Chris, but Gimgoon is not low. He wants to pop that ulti once more. Explosive cast does the damage. Kaiser's back in. LWX is still alive and free hitting, but look at Hua Tian. He's the one Rogue Warriors need right now. Doinby lives, but Hua Tian is just jumping. Kalista in on the side, and Wuji, what he's known for right now, might be the Kalista with his own version of the triple kill.
Wuji and Hua Tian, man, we wanted to see it happen, and they burst the game wide open. They don't have a wave, that's going to be rough, but the kills were needed.
Finally, Rogue Warriors make a response. They're back on the mat, they're back in the game. And Wuji's added his own little bounty, let alone I think he picked up the bounty from LWX.
Yeah, easily gets himself a Blade of the Rune King. So take a look at, I would say, Aurelia for this one. It takes some time, honestly. Chris tanks a lot of that tower damage, but the moment Aurelia comes in through the control ward, so they have no idea that he was even there. Picks up 3 to 4 members on that ultimate too, slows them down. Excellent setting, and it allows for them to just jump right in. So really good setting. Like, the control ward really saved it because FPX thought they were safe next to that push, but that was the strongest member on the enemy team.
Being able to equalize is so important here in this early game. Wuji picks up Blade of the Rune King, now even closer towards second item with Berserker Greaves as well. That's what the Kalista needs in that mid game. So one fight, not as simple as another. And Doinby just not able to get anything done there as well.
This is definitely the type of game we wanted to see, though. We wanted to see something competitive, and this is what we got. It's FPX still trying to pressure around mid, and sure, they'll get this tower. Oh my god, where you going, buddy?
Doinby wants to charge in. Will he find Suzu? No, too far away. So they will get the turret in the end, but charge now down. Key ultimate for FPX to start the fight.
Just shows that they're trying to get relentless pressure because they know they'll get a benefit no matter what. If they don't get the fight, at least they, enough pressure, safetiness to get the tower. You're right about spending too many resources, though, because the last time they spent that many resources, the flank to continue on the fight is what killed them. So FPX have to be assured that when they make these plays, that they don't get flanked immediately afterwards.
Because FPX with no charge, there's no TP either, they can't respond to that turret, whether they wanted to or not. Hua Tian getting more solo, localized gold. And this time, I'm not sure where the Colonel should stand, because I think Rogue Warriors now have so many windows to start controlling this game, and Doinby just isn't having the same effect even on the Kled that he did on the Yasuo last game.
Yeah, it's a difficult call. I wouldn't, really sympathize with the man. I would say that right now, if you're FPX, you're thinking a lot about what the next play for Doinby should be, because he is the primary mode of engage. But with Jiang Chao now leading the charge, leaving the side lane, it's so much harder. You don't want Doinby charging forward on towards the Sion pick.
Because Jiang Chao has that ultimate again, Raz. He's level 11. Now, level 1 ultimate on Sion hits you like a truck. Level 2 hits you like the magic bloody school bus. And you definitely don't want that. Rogue Warriors, they're sending the bus right towards the dragon. Jiang Chao sitting in on the side. That's the engage perfectly for Rogue Warriors. But look at the side. Gimgoon still hitting through, but he can't get into the fight. And Wuji is just hopping around, skipping through. LWX is next. There's Hua Twin. Holy moly, he gets another. Just throw it in the bin like Rogue Warriors did to FPX.
And Gimgoon was trying to find a way through the fight to threaten Zhang Wuji, but Wuji was in such a good position. That one. Thresh was out there to drive for sure, but Wuji was able to just hit them at the wall, near the wall, so there was, like, landscape-wise, how do you even touch them? It's such a hard fight now for FPX if they're trying to go front to back. Front to back while Jiang Chao is in the, oh my goodness, where are you going?
Or you just go front, Raz. There's nowhere to go but up, and they do get the charge off eventually. It's Kalua who's caught. Wuji from the side, though, still free hitting. Unfortunately, Doinby is a little bit too much for him. That's the pick rate for FPX, with Baron now up.
It's the chaos we're looking at, but we got to go from step one, when the controls boards have been in place, when Tien gets picked off, because this is where it all started. Now, you think it's more of an even fight because stasis happens. He gets bursted, sure, but take a look at where Wuji is in this fight. as we're going straight towards the Baron.
Well, the Baron started up. FPX have started hitting it. It's 4K down. Rogue Warriors need a steal here over the wall at 2K. Huatian's free hitting in the fight again. Smite secured by FPX, but can they win the fight? Yes, they can in a closed environment. Hang on! Wuji once again free hitting with Vanguard's edge down. Wuji and LWX have it out a bit. Jung Chao and Doomby left alive. It's a triple kill for the Kaiser. FPX somehow salvaged that fight.
Yeah, Doomby could have stayed a little bit longer to go for Sign, but he's the only one with the Baron buff. Keep it safe. That was a good call ultimately to go straight towards Baron, because remember, you got the pick initially to set the Baron up. You waited long enough for Rogue Warriors to stay on the map long enough, and it caused this to happen. When Thresh was dead earlier, it's a 5v4. Let's go for it. Rush the Baron and see how you play it out. It was a 50-50 that worked in Gragas' favor.
Wuji still free hitting here though, Raz, but look at LWX doing exactly the same.
Yeah, that was the most important thing. The Kai'Sa versus the Kalista at the end, but when Aurelia placed down her ultimate, that was really rough. More DPS would have went down. It's just unfortunate that, you know, didn't work out well for Wuji at that one. I think if Huatian had more chances in that fight to just keep alive and play around her own ulti that was going to stay up a little while longer, would have been a better chance for Rogue Warriors.
At least 2 items now for the Aurelia, but what I'm looking at is Doomby still with the Baron buff here. And he's got 2 items as well, but it's not going to matter his damage. Of course, that buff adding into the mix. Now, with a 6-3-1 Kai'Sa, 3 items on LWX. I feel like he's going to do it again.
Yeah, and you know, they have to play towards now at the next dragon, because that's a double Infernal Dragon for Rogue Warriors. You can't get it even better than that.
They're walking blind in here. LWX manages to get out of the Glacial Prison. Gibgoon misses his ultimate. Well, where's the Vanguard's edge? Huatian uses it now finally, but it's only onto 1 member. They're fighting front to back once again. Split off to the sides. LWX is alive, and the Kai'Sa is everything you need. Wuji outskirts, but eventually goes down as well. It's a triple. Make that a quadra kill there. LWX, I said he was going to do it again, and there's your proof.
Oh my god, LWX going for it. And this should be an inhibitor, if not more. Let's take a look at the death timers. 27 seconds, so they should actually just base off of the inhib. Is not going to be enough in terms of just the wave that's following through with them. But man, that was a great win for FPX.
They're going to charge on through. Inhibitor at the very least, or maybe just the turret. Sushu's up. Wuji coming up in 10 seconds. They can't get any more. They got the fight though, and the gold lead, and eventually broke down the base. Maybe that's all they can ask with an Infernal coming soon.
The Rage Blade was doing a lot of work for LWX because he was getting a lot of passes off on the frontliners. Take a look at how hard it was for Rogue Warriors to fight around the wall, because the wall is actually just doing so much work where LWX had the safety to then walk up, deal with Huatian, who had no ability to actually jump into the backline. They need to pick their fights a little bit smarter. That's why a lot of the top teams, if they choose a fight where they're, I would say, they have better wards around the Dragon or a Baron, play around that. Make it easier for yourself. If you set the vision around, I'd say blue buff, around the wider area, make it easier for yourself, because that one was a difficult one for Wuji to play around.
Channeling through the choke there with no visions, Suju led the charge and eventually was one of the first members to drop down. You see the gold lead when Wuji is the highlight for Rogue Warriors, just how far behind he is in this game. Almost 3,000 gold. And LWX, we're getting into his territory. We're getting into the massive late game fight that he will most likely win.
This is crazy with how back and forth this game is. The bounty gold is going back and forth now. All the bounty gold off of Rogue Warriors. And with how much gold FPX, or specifically LWX, accrued from that one. Bounty gold because he got a quadra kill on towards members, Wuji going down. But now he just has a 1k gold bounty. If they can kill him, that's big. But at this point, he is three items and then some up. He's going for a Guardian's Angel, so when he does jump in eventually, that he won't just immediately give up the bounty and die out.
Well, you saw a Sejuani ultimate there, so he knows he can safely get in the fight to a degree. Ultimate burned into Kahlua, almost goes the wrong way. Doomby just a little bit too short on the charge. The pick up Infernal though, at the cost of a couple of ultimates.
He just scared them. You hear the charge coming through. It's like, where is he coming from? I don't know where the flank is. And you don't even know where his direction is. And then he just stops short. And you're like, wait a minute, we just gave up our positioning on Dragon. That would have been like 3 dragons on Rogue Warriors. unfortunately doesn't go in their favor because they can't even be put in the position to fight back with how large this Kled is.
And Duanbe can do that every single fight. Charging on such a low cooldown now, almost level 16. Rogue Warriors just have to get that vision under control. Baron is coming up in a minute. Next Dragon may be irrelevant at this point. And with that Baron coming up, another big fight that maybe could just end things for all.
And remember, in terms of the AD carries that we've been focusing on, LWX versus Wuji, Kalista had been known as an AD carry that descales with time. When items come through, her attack speed isn't too beneficial on her. She doesn't get too much because she doesn't go towards the crit item route. For LWX, he does. I mean, right now already has the Runon's Hurricane. His passive actually is so exceptional in being able to deal with tanks early on. So LWX has just been starting to take over these team fights now front to back. So initially we said front to back, great for Rogue Warriors because they have two major frontliners. But now those frontliners are not even being able to deal with LWX well at all.
He's got 4 items now, Raz. That 1,000 gold is so nice, but how do you get it at this point? Wuji, the hope. Huatian follows that same line of thought. Almost 3 items on the Aurelia. Baron is now up, sitting, but look at the vision. Triple control ward in Pixel, topside brush around Baron. Rogue Warriors have to impede into that vision, and it is so dangerous to do so.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Aurelia doesn't have her Sterix gauge just yet, because at this point in time, she's just going to be jumping in face first. She's going to be in the fight for such a long time, because if they get down, if they can flank LWX, you still have to commit like X amount of seconds for the GA to pop right back up, and you can reset the fight again. So now you're just really saying your tankiest members are Sejuani and Sion, and they have to be there for quite some time. Here we go.
They just started up, but I think it might be a little bit of a bait with vision used by Rogue Warriors. Again, sitting in this pixel brush. They'll drop one down. Something's a bit fishy there.
You're just going to have Kled push out. So they're just going to be pushing out these waves before they head right back in. Decent position, decent decision. And remember, with how far Kled pushes out, he still has an option to flank around with his ultimate. You already mentioned you know, not level 16 just yet, but already on a low enough cooldown. And around the, let's say the terrain here, can make use of it and go for an easy flank. But they're just going to go for Baron.
Starting up control ward, doing its job. Suju is going to have to hop over or at least check it with another ward. It's going down quick as well, Raz. Gimgoon sitting in the pixel brush, playing Disruptor. The charge is on. It's onto Suju, who already forces his way out. Huatian is not in a good position, but Wuji, once again, the Fate's Call to add to the mix with the Vanguard's Edge. LWX, what can he do? Nothing, because the GA's just been popped. With Gimgoon there, sitting in on the side, trying to take the 1v1. He manages to get it. LWX is back into the fray, though, as well, with that GA making the difference for FPX.
Hopping over the terrain, flashed over, and they're able to get the kill onto Huatian. Huatian and Jiangxia are now off the map. This should be an easy Baron for FPX.
Baron number 2 with less casualties than last time. Rogue Warriors just have to back away and hope for a miracle fight off of this one. The base was already broken last time. What can they get with this one?
But here's the thing, you're right. This was looking so good for Rogue Warriors initially. I mean, they got so much DPS on that one member immediately. Look, pop down Braum. What are you going to do? Have Huatian at the flank. At this point, it's looking really good. But then it's like, okay, who are we focusing on next? Of course, we want to be able to kill the AD carry. We had an option on him. LWX flashes off the wall. Jiangxiao flashes over, rather. And then they just spike him out. Suddenly, 2 members just popped out. When if the tank just stayed with his team, instead of trying to kill the 30 to 40% HP carry with sustain,
into play.
Just get the last hit on it, please. There we go. Well done for FPX. New squad debut. Doumbé feeling himself in the last fight too.
Yeah.
This is what we wanted to see from FPX, was either they clean it up and get smarter, or they just go all in, chips on the table. And that's what we saw here. I felt like we saw a team that really catered to what was the team style of all-out aggression, and to Doumbé's style, he just does what he wants to do. Jumps right in, picks his Kled. A lot of those team fights, especially the last one, I really want to see the last one again, where it was hectic, it was crazy. It was Wuji trying to just nail down the AD carry because he knew that LWX was the most important member in the enemy team. But he gave himself up. He had to sacrifice himself to do that. That was a worthy sacrifice, but he had no vision on what was happening on the side, which was Doumbé versus Hwatian.
That game just showed us, though, Raz, that this truly is the team of chaos. In chaos, they thrive. And Doumbé showed up in that bit of chaos. LWX, though, I think we come back to the AD carry because he wasn't someone we were going to focus on. It was the new mid laner. LWX thrived in both games as well.
So here's the thing. I mean, whenever it comes to a discussion about FPX, you're right, it's usually about, like, at least when it comes to this season. It comes to the season, you're talking about Doumbé because that's the most relevant move. But, like, throughout the past season, all the analysts have been talking about how this team should do much better than they are showing. Like, their standings are not matching up to the talent that the players have. Gimgoon is a great top laner. LWX is a great AD carry, and everybody speaks well and highly of Chris because his tank play, his engage play is wonderful, but they never really find themselves syncing up as a squad. No matter what, they don't have that element that glues them together. And I think this season could be the season where Doumbé comes in and can hit both rounds of, hey, I'm talented too. And I'm also playing in the same mindset, so this is definitely an FPX you have to really respect.
This is an FPX that can climb the rankings and create those upsets, but here against Rogue Warriors, it seemed a bit too much. Jungchal 2 games in a row on the Scion. It still looked comfortable, but in that game of Rogue Warriors, we found our focal point. We just didn't see it fine to succession of a game 3.
Yeah, and I know that we've had those initial worries about Rogue Warriors, like, across the board. If they don't have the win condition of Wuji, then they seem clueless. They don't really have anything that can play through top lane. 2 Scion games, that's not a bad thing. That's just saying that I'm gonna be the role player. But if you have a role player, you need 1 or 2 stars on your team. If you have 2 stars, you're set. You're probably a playoff threat. If you have just that 1 star, but even then he's green, he doesn't have the ability to rally a squad, then this is a developmental season for you. And I think that's the risk here for Rogue Warriors, is that it feels like it's very much a developmental season, unless if they surprise us. They're a team that needs to surprise us because right now it looks pretty difficult.
That game was full of surprises, though, and all credit to Rogue Warriors. That game had moments where, and just like the first one, where those team fights were clean at some point.
Yeah.
But then you start asking, right, is the consistency there with this new squad? Unfortunately, the answer seems to be no. You talk about stars. I agree. Wuji's definitely up there with Kalua's mentorship and leadership. Maybe Hwatian during the season, I think, can rise, and that challenger potential's there too.
To your point, they're definitely, I can't compare them to, let's say, a Vici of last year or an OMG of last year. I think that they're far more focused than the OMG, where even though OMG had like they can play through Icon, but they weren't actually putting their chips in that direction. Sometimes you would have a carry in the bottom lane. They'd try and focus on bottom lane at times. Or even when they gave him all the gold lead, they wouldn't put him on the side lane. Like, there are so many things where you're like, strategically, you're not doing what you should do if you want to support Icon. Felt like Rogue Warriors are doing that. It's just a lot of it is just a lot of the problem with Rogue Warriors that we saw in this series was more so, okay, you have the gold now, you've adapted in game 2, and you've given it all to the Kalista.
Yep.
Now it's more so how you position in these team fights. Because it says a lot that it was Kalista who is diving through people so that she can get to the AD carry. Because the setup in the fights are not good enough so they can really find themselves in the back line to start. So this is what we were referring to. These are good fights that Rogue Warriors are finding themselves.
This is a great fight.
This was just more of a desperation fight, so I'm not going to like ding them in any way, but you just have to watch and see. There are 2 fights occurring. Wuji dives in, and then another one to the left where Doumbé flashing out, trying to buy some time, and Hwatian thinks he can take him out. if he had stunned him, that would have been a sure kill.
Yeah.
Doombee's dead.
That would have been the game saved as well.
And remember, yeah, Triumph too. Triumph would be there for the Irelia. And so she's there a little bit more healthier. She would base. Game goes longer.
Yep.
More questions. So it did turn into a mechanic battle. But there are some fights. That's not an example of just like Rogue Warriors needing to work a little bit more on the vision control game. I think there were times where Killua was actually like, he based, he went back, got control wards, and then he's back on the map to support his mid laner. But the Sejuani, or at least his jungler, is gone now. They're not working in tandem with each other, and Huatian has already lost a lot of mana, so they can't do anything. Like, those are the key windows that you really need for you to have windows to begin with, so you're not always on the back.
At least it's communication, which is quite easy to fix, especially for a newer team there with someone who's so experienced like Killua. Then you can develop communication, but that also comes from the coaching and the managing stuff as
so
well.
like, I think that takes time. It really depends on the players you have. If Killua is strong at that, I know in the previous team he wasn't really the one providing the shot calling, right? So now already you need to solidify who are your shot callers, who's going to be providing a lot of the direction on your squad. In that situation, I think Killua is in the right place, so I think he's doing it. It's just more so, you're right, new players come in line and they just need to figure out like timings. That does take surprisingly long at being able to achieve that consistently.
Yep.
So I want to see what they do when they go up against the other teams, not just the top teams. I think if they go up against the top teams, that they're going to suffer. But if they go up against like OMG, that one's really cool to see how OMG have developed as a team, but also more so like how do they match up against the mid-tier teams in the league.
Well, that's for Rogue Warriors. A lot of question marks moving forward, but for FPX, feels like a breath of fresh air coming forward. And no surprise here that one of the key players for FPX is our MVP. It's going to be Gimgoon up in the top side of the map. Now, you could really give it to multiple members from the side of FPX, but 22% damage on the Urgot, not half bad.
And these team fights, this is when you just say the eye test won it out, because the eye test said Gimgoon. Bottom lane fight with the Urgot, he was the reason why they won that fight. Even though triple kill, all the stats goes to his carries, it was him that started or at least set the tone, walked forward, assassinated Wuji. For me, yeah, I 100% agree. Gimgoon was the reason for your team fight success. So, well, you know, definitely hand it to him.
No, FPX, they solidified their top line a while ago, and it's good to see that Doombe adds into the mix a bit of flavor to this FPX roster as well. So good for Gimgoon.
Yeah, good for Gimgoon. I know. I want to say one thing about Gimgoon, because like we've been talking about Doombe because he's the newest addition. But for Gimgoon, he's been in the league for so long. You know, game talents to like. At one point, he was like, I'm pretty sure he was on Energy Pacemakers. There were like so many organizations he was with, and he's never landed on himself on a top tier team. This could be that, I think, with where they're currently, like where their headspace is at. And finally, you're getting to see the talents that Gimgoon has for himself. Talents that we saw initially when he was on the Zenix Storm. Like that kind of stuff we initially see. Finally, it's starting to work out well for him.
And finally, Gimgoon can push himself into the spotlight, but that'll be questions for FPX moving forward. However, that's it for our broadcast today, or at least for week 1, day 1. For tomorrow, which is a Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. I forgot what day it is. EDG, Sino Dragon. This is going to be on Huya and Doyu, because unfortunately, this will not be broadcasted in English.
Yeah, our broadcast days are going to be Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. So watch the Huya and Doyu broadcast if you want to see EDG go up against Sino Dragon, our newest team. LGD and BLG, that one's going to be fun for me because that's where the Korean imports come in. You saw Ian come on the court alongside Kuro.
Yeah.
That's when they play. So they're going to be playing in the Hangzhou Stadium. Now, I'd be surprised if Ian gets to play because I do still think that Yuki isn't a phenomenal mid laner, but getting some time in the sun is something I want to see. So, like, you know, give him a chance, especially to go up against Kuro.
Bring him over from Korea. You may as well give him a game or two, or
Yes.
at least put him in for the majority. However, the days we are broadcasting over on Wednesday when Raz and I will be back, these are some important games as well. Now, as the importance of seeing Suning, the super team against Vici, will kind of confirm our suspicions.
Yeah, the Suning super team, we want to see what they can do. I want to see what Invictus Gaming can do up against OMG2. Sure, these initially you look at these matchups and you say Suning should handily win that. They're a top 3 team. IG are world champions, they should handily win that. But we don't know where Vici and OMG are placed right now. These are fresh players coming in from Vici. Jay, Pop, Snow, like all these names that you're gonna now hear from them, like they're also bringing in from their own successful developmental team, and then from OMG, like they have some good talent. Like AL is something you'll hear from. Like they have a 10-man roster who's gonna be fun to see. Maybe they can put up a fight against IG.
Potentially, maybe they can, but we're looking towards the rest of the year, which the rest of the Chinese year goes until February 5th, which I'm now finding out about. I'm learning more about culture while I'm here, but that's the most important thing. So this is our massive schedule and our matchups. There are some decent ones. I want to put your attention, Raz,
All right,
towards WE and Suning. Now, I've watched a lot of WE, and I feel like 2019, it would be nice to see WE rise again. Against Suning, that'll probably give us an indication of where WE stand.
For me, I would say end of this week, Sunday, Suning versus RNG is also just our second best series of the week.
True.
Like our first best was, our match of the week, TOP versus Invictus Gaming. But by the end of the week, you get to see RNG for the first time this split go up against what is the third best team, my opinion, in Suning.
We'll
and we get to see where they both land after Demacia.
Because you don't think TOP's in top 3, you think it's like top 4.
I mean, it's so up in the air between TOP, Suning, JD, throw that in as well. It really is where the synergy lands. And I think that's right now, Suning reminds me of like Boston Celtics. Right now, they're not working so well in the regular, or at least last time we saw in the Demacia Cup because they just got put together.
Yeah.
But like just on paper, this is a beautiful lineup that should work, and it will take some time.
I think we'll have a better understanding of our top 16 after this first week, because we won't see all our. Will we see all 16 this week? We will.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we will. So we'll have a better understanding of top 16. That's how math works. Ladies and gentlemen, big thank you from me. Big thank you to Raz for having to deal with me tonight. We'll be back on Wednesday to bring you more LPL action. Until then, it's bye for now.